The issue is when you have a low worth barometer, you're going to be spending money to feel better. And it gives you that dopamine hit when you do it and you buy those shoes or that purse or those earrings or whatever it may be. But then afterwards, you're still stuck with yourself. You're still stuck with that emotion.
Hi, I'm Annette Ba'u, host of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast and founder of the Millionaire Insider. My mission is to help you simplify the money game so you can create a financially secure and fulfilled life without having to have a PhD or spend countless hours on your finances. You're going to learn how to think like a millionaire, stop worrying about money and wondering if your financial house is truly in order, and instead spend your time doing what you love. With over 3 decades advising 7, 8, and even 9-figure millionaires, and now joining that elite group, I'm in a unique position to help you make the best financial choices so you can create a secure financial future and retirement you love. This is the Wealth Inside and Out podcast.
Today's free resource is our magical budget template. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. The magical budget template works wonders when it comes to managing your cash flow. And it was designed to work with both wealthy people as well as people who don't have any money. And it works well regardless of where you are financially. Again, you can access it at themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. We basically show you how to separate out your expenses from wants and needs. One of the biggest misconceptions is what are wants and what are needs. And this budget will really help you from that perspective so that you can make sure that you're not overspending and that you are spending your money on things that really are going to impact your life. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/MBT. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/109. Millionaireseries.com copyrights all materials and intellectual property. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement planning, or healthcare advice. By accessing this content, you agree to hold millionaireseries.com and its affiliates harmless for results achieved or not achieved. I have spent my entire career working with affluent clients, and while most of them have money, I have met very few who couldn't benefit from spending less and saving more. That said, if you don't need to spend less money because you have so much, I encourage you to share this with a family member or friend. This is going to help you and them because it's going to decrease the odds that they're going to need to ask you for money in the future and increase the odds that they're going to be okay financially, especially from a cash flow standpoint. So here are 5 different ways in which to spend less money. I have spent my entire career really looking at this largely from a perspective of pre-retirees and retirees, but it's something that can help you at any stage of the game. So I encourage you to take note of these 5 different insights and then see which ones work best for you. So the first is just to create a spending plan. A spending plan is where your money's going. And I think a lot of people have no idea where their money's going. A lot of people think of a spending plan kind of like a diet. You can't have it, but it's really about clarity. When you track your expenses and you make sure that they are aligned with your values and goals, you make better decisions. A good plan gives you permission to spend money on what you want to spend it on, what matters, while cutting out all the other stuff. There are so many opportunities to get distracted. They say we get like 100 to 150,000 messages a day and distractions a day. And it's so easy to get on one thing and then be on the other and then on the other. And before you know, you don't even know where you're at. This allows you to be laser focused on what you want and need as compared to just whimsically deciding to buy something. Most times we eat or we buy things because it's making us feel good on the inside for the short term. But what we want to do is we want to feel not only good now, but also for the rest of our life. And when we can start getting more in touch with our emotions and handling stress in an effective, productive way, it's going to do wonders, not only for our waistline, but also for our bank account. One of the things that's really impactful is that when you know what's coming in your account and what's going out, you gain control and you increase your peace of mind. And I think peace of mind, in my opinion, is probably the most important aspect of your life. And so making that a priority is going to go a long way to just giving you the joy and the happiness most people desire. Now, if you overspend, I encourage you to work on your worth barometer. This is your belief and self-esteem. Individuals with a healthy worth barometer have a solid foundation. They're solidly grounded. They're not trying to fill a void in here by something out there. Now, I understand it takes some work, but it's so worth it. The issue is when you have a low worth barometer, you're going to be spending money to feel better. And it gives you that dopamine hit when you do it and you buy those shoes or that purse or those earrings or whatever it may be. But then afterwards, you're still stuck with yourself. You're still stuck with that emotion. So be really clear on that. And if you need to work on your worth barometer, I encourage you to do the work. You can go to themillionaireinsider.com/3, and I'll link to it in the show notes. But that is an entire episode all on the worth barometer. So the next thing I encourage you to do is to differentiate needs and wants as far as expenses go. So before buying anything, I want you to say, is this something I really need, or is this something I just want? Needs are essentials like housing, utilities, insurance, basic food costs. Wants are more like entertainment, eating out, travel, and things above basic food. A lot of people spend way too much money on food because it's like, oh, I want this, oh, I want that. Whereas in reality, they could get by on a lot less. So again, just be aware of that. This one question can literally save you hundreds of thousands of dollars. Many people unknowingly spend out of habit, boredom, to get that dopamine hit. Pausing before you purchase allows your prefrontal cortex, which is your rational brain, to catch up with your primal toddler, I want it now brain. It's so important. And it also helps you to stay focused on your bigger goal, a financially free life where you spend your time doing what you love. You get to choose. You have the freedom to choose what to do. That, my friends, is the key. I don't care what anyone tells you. Everyone's trying to tell you that, really the key right now is just enjoy your life right now. So then what? You live the rest of your life miserably? Fortunately, I had a mentor early on. He said, Annette, work for 10 years like no one ever will, so you can live the rest of your life like no one ever can. It was the best advice I ever got. And then what ends up happening is you create those habits and then it just perpetuates itself. And so it's just amazing what can happen when you really get clear, get focused, and then take action. The 3-day rule, which we'll cover in number 5, is going to help you with this. The big key in all of this is you want to stay focused on that bigger goal, because the more you can stay really crystal clear on where you want to end, what you want to achieve, the more you're going to be able to do what you need to do to get there. All right, number 3, consolidate your subscriptions or unused services. Just take 30 minutes this week to review any recurring charge you have, whether it's streaming service, an app, a membership, or a subscription. If you haven't used it in 30 days, cancel it. That's the rule. Now, if you have a duplicate service, say you have a bunch of multiple streaming like Prime TV, YouTube, Netflix, Paramount, whatever it may be, choose one. Or if you have so much money you don't know what to do with it, then 2. But what's interesting is that my clients, my wealthy clients, have 1, maybe 2. Their kids or beneficiaries who don't have as much money have a ton. It is so interesting. Every person that I work with or I know that doesn't have a lot of money has so many streaming services. It's just fascinating that people that don't have money use those and people that do don't. And I think sometimes you'll hear people make excuses. Well, we don't spend a lot of money, so we have streaming. You do not need 10 or 20. And by the time you start adding those up, they're hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. So be aware of that. Consider a family plan. Now, this was a really good reminder for me because we all have Apple phones in my family, and we all have Apple Music. And I'm like, some of my kids have Spotify, but I'm like, this is ridiculous. We can get a family plan, 1 fee, and it's only like double what I pay. So it would be a lot cheaper. So that's something that this podcast actually reminded me to do. But, just eliminating a couple of charges can save you hundreds of dollars, if not thousands each year. All right, number 4. Plan your purchases ahead and avoid impulse buys. Whether it's groceries, gifts, or a trip, plan in advance. Shopping with a list and then sticking to it helps you cut down on spontaneous spending. Now, if that's not your genius, kind of like me in grocery shopping, I encourage you to hire somebody or have your partner go do it, assuming they are better than you. The reality of it is when I go grocery shopping, I'm really efficient. So I want to make sure I have plenty of everything. Whereas my husband, his problem is he could care less how many times he goes back, which it drives me crazy. But Knowing what you're going to buy and not overbuying, especially on produce or things that are going to go bad, is absolutely essential. You want to avoid online scrolling or shopping when you're bored, tired, or emotional. Oh, that's the worst. These habits often lead to purchases you later regret. The simple discipline of just planning ahead of time can be a game changer, not only for your wallet, but for your retirement and your stress level. It's amazing what happens. And what you're going to find is initially it's going to be really stressful. It's going to be difficult. And what you have to do is just get comfortable being uncomfortable, figure out what that emotion is that you've got that you don't want, and then figure out what emotion you do want, and then train your brain to stay in the zone with the emotion you want. My friends, it's powerful, but it's so important. It's going to make such a difference in your life. All right, number 5, delay gratification. And you can do this by using the 3-day rule. If you find something that you really want to buy, wait 3 days before purchasing it. This allows your prefrontal cortex, which is your more rational brain, to kick in and calm down that primal, I want it now brain. During the 3 days, evaluate whether you can afford it and that it aligns with your values. When we say yes to anything, we're inherently saying no to something else. So you say, oh yeah, I'll go buy this, but then you're saying no to something you really value. That's the problem. 9 times out of 10, the desire fades, and you're going to be glad you didn't spend the money, especially if that money was earmarked for retirement, investments, down payment on something, anything along those lines. This is such a powerful mindset shift that can help you break the cycle of emotional and reactive spending. All right, let's look at a quick bonus insight. Spending less does not mean sacrificing your joy. It actually means creating future joy and peace of mind. Early in my career, I heard amazing insight. This person said they had heard a person speaking, and they said dollars in the bank or investments are freedom chips or stored energy. They allow you to have freedom to choose. They allow you to store energy that you can use in the future. I thought that was such a great analogy. And I think any one of us can benefit from that. So, do you want to have a short-term gain right now, or do you want to have a long-term win? It's kind of like working out. I don't love working out. I don't love lifting weights, but I love the strength I have and how good I feel and how everything just feels better and everything works better when I'm working out. I manage my stress better, less anxiety. I feel better. I sleep better. I eat healthier. Every single thing lines up. That's similar to money. If we can get in the habit of really getting clear on what our goals and values are, and then being really careful how we spend money, it's amazing what can become reality for us, where we can really enjoy our retirement versus worrying about money. One of the most important things when it comes to spending less is understanding that it's really one of the first steps towards financial peace and freedom. When you start really getting clear on what you want and what you want that future to look like, and you can embody that, and especially the emotion you're going to feel when you get it, everything, my friends, is going to change. And I'm telling you, you're going to look back and say that might have been difficult initially, right? Because you don't have that muscle. But once you get it, you're going to look back and go, oh my gosh, I am so glad I made those choices, because now this is why I'm living the dream. We were just recently in wine country up in Temecula because my son had a tournament there. And we went out to a really nice dinner. And I was talking to somebody, and somebody's like, you're really living the dream. And I'm like, I really am living the dream. Like, it's amazing what happens when you really get clear on what your goals and your values are, and then you execute them. We just got done with the National Volleyball Championship. It was in Arizona this year, which was great because my son has never gone because it's normally right before finals. And it was so awesome being able to be there and just be there for him. And he played so well. I need to post some of his pictures. He is just so good. It's unbelievable. Actually, if you go to Facebook, look for me, Annette Bau, B-A-U, you can actually see some, because I did post a few. But I mean, his vertical, he is like, the net's here, and he's like, I don't know how many feet above it. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that I'm related to him, that I happen to be his mom. Anyway, point being is that when you have money, you have choices. You can go to watch your son play volleyball. You can do things that when you don't have money, you don't have that freedom or the choices. And so, my friends, I hope you get that because you will be so glad you did. I've had so many people who have an amazing retirement, plenty of money, and they're like, I am so glad I made the choices I made. I have yet to see anyone who doesn't have enough money and didn't make good choices say, I'm so glad I made those choices. So, my friends, I hope you get that. And the key is just really getting in touch with that primal brain, really getting it under control and those emotions, because a lot of us get triggered on different things. I actually got really triggered about something that happened right before nationals regarding my son. And I'm going to share that with you in the next episode on 110, themillionaireinsider.com/110. Something about when you mess with my kids really can trigger me. So it was interesting because people say sometimes that money triggers them so much or spending plans triggering them. And it's hard for me to really relate to that because it's just so ingrained in me. But then when I was feeling how I felt triggered with my son and what happened, I'm like, oh, this is how people feel. So what I'm going to talk about, because we're going to talk about financial stress, but what I'm going to talk about first of all is just overall stress and how to manage it and how I manage mine when I start feeling anxious or worried or really go into that state of fear. And nothing good really comes from it. So I hope you enjoy that episode. Thank you so much for joining me. I look so forward to seeing you on our next episode.
If you love the content of this podcast, please follow and subscribe to our channel so you get notified of episodes, and also give us a 5-star review and share a comment. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on taking another step to create a financially free life you love. If you're not sure about your financial future or that it's in order, or you are ready to stop worrying about money or possibly the fear of becoming a bag lady, ending up broke in retirement, or you simply are ready to know your financial house is in order so you can have a bright financial future, please go to themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. And that doesn't stand for non-sufficient funds. It stands for Next Step Finance. It's the next best step of what you need to do so you can avoid an NSF notice in your future. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. The number of women who were not broke or poor while working or married is staggering. The entire mission of the Wealth Inside and Out podcast is to ensure you have the information for you, your family, your friends, anyone who's willing to listen to it and apply it so that you can create a financially free life you love. Again, themillionaireinsider.com/NSF. Until our next episode, take one action that will help you create a financially free life you love. I'm Annette Ba'u, your host. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.